What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. Happy Friday, everyone. It is March 11th, 2022. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the indices. We're going to talk about some of my trades for the day. Today I did nothing in the way of trading, so not much to talk about there. We're going to recap the week just a little bit. Before we do that, quick first disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter. Oh my gosh, so what a crazy week. And if you are an active trader and you are navigating these markets, you definitely have to give yourself a pat on the back. This has been a very challenging environment, and it has been a very unforgiving environment. I was taking a look at the weekly chart for the S&P 500, and we've been in this down sequence really for the last 10 or so weeks. So since like the first day of January, we've just been in a grueling market correction. So if you feel like a little bit mentally drained by the end of this week, because this week really was a slugfest, first off, I will say that is completely normal. Second off, I will say, take this weekend to just relax a little bit and get some time away from the screens, focus on some R&R, some family time, having a good exercise session. Like I'm going to the gym after this market recap video. So yeah, make sure you're maintaining your mental composure, because remember, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. There's going to be better times ahead. And a lot of times it'll feel like, oh my gosh, like it's never going to go back up or whatever. And sometimes that happens just before the bottom. It's usually the darkest right before the dawn. So with that being said, all right, let's talk about these box scores. S&P 500 finished the day down 1.27%. NASDAQ QQQ finished down 2.07%. IWM small caps down 1.6%. Dogs of the Dow lagging to the downside, down 0.63%. And oh my gosh, this ARK Innovation ETF down 6.65%. Once again, it has erased all of its post-pandemic gains. Volatility was down on the open, but actually closed higher in all of these indices. You can see, looking at today's range, pretty much everything closed right on the lows. Breadth was also negative into the bell. So to start off the session, the main theme that we saw was that, and we'll talk about this while we're looking at the heat map, there was a headline out that Russia and Ukraine, there's apparently some progress being made on those talks. And from the very get-go, I was like, hey, this is a pretty flimsy headline, pretty flimsy catalyst, but the market, as of the pre-market, got like a 1.3% bump to the upside. So it's like, all right, we're getting a bump in pre-market. This is great. The market tagged the 20-day simple moving average, but look at how we closed. We had Tesla down over 5%, Nvidia down 2.46%. All these semi stocks are still struggling, and it looks like the generals are finally being shot. Because let's be frank, growth stocks are already down 80%. Some of the best companies in the world that were high flying during the bull market down 80%. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin down a solid 50%. And if you're looking at altcoins, also down 80%. Pretty much every area of the market is down significantly, other than the very top stocks. And these are the ones that we're looking at right in front of us right now. The Apple's only down maybe 10 to 12%, while the NASDAQ is down like over 20 at this point. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla has not come back down to earth yet. It's sort of on its way there. But yeah, this is really like the last bastion of hope for bulls. And if we're going to get the negative 20% ripper on the S&P 500, likely it's going to be on the back of these companies like Apple, Google, Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft, and Tesla. So yeah, overall, this heat map in the beginning of the day was bright green. And then by the end of the day, pretty much everything flipped red. And these can be some of the more taxing days in the market when you're expecting a good day of price action and then you just get hit with a bunch of sellers. Take a look at this. This is our S&P 500 chart. I drew in a blue trend line here. So you can really see the path of the market This first day from which the trend line was drawn was January 4th. And take a look. Boom, just 10 weeks of selling. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. And we're going to do a much deeper dive into analyzing these markets at a high level during our weekend market analysis video, and that is for Pristine Capital members. But take a look at this. So we have this 4186 level. This is crucial support here. And we close pretty much right on top of it. So this is a pretty menacing close because, hey, we held the support level, which is great, but all it would take is like the slightest little push lower on Monday or really at any point next week, and suddenly we're cascading below it. So as our S&P 500, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ in a very similar boat. We got close to retesting these prior lows, but not quite there. And it really just seems like there are some liquidations going on, because I must say yesterday, to me that looked like we were getting like a capitulation bottom forming where the market, you know, the volatility was heading lower. It was tough to make progress on the downside. It looked like some of those signs were there. And today it was just another wave of selling throughout the entire day. We opened up. Basically, it was like in pre-market, we were on our highs and we closed directly on the lows. So there are still players that are getting liquidated. And I think for the most part, nobody really wants to be a seller here. But there are players out there that are just going, you know what? Finally going to admit that I'm wrong. Let me exit the market. Keep in mind, next week we have Fed Wednesday. And at that Fed meeting, that has been so highly anticipated. We've been anticipating that first meeting where they're going to hike rates for months now. What I'm thinking here is the anticipation is really the hard part. Once it happens, what is the market going to do? Have there been market participants that are waiting on the sideline and they want some clarity from Powell before putting capital to work? That could certainly be the case. So I really just think, like, in terms of like throwing in the towel or turning bearish, like I just think given that we have such a big catalyst next week in terms of the monetary policy, it's pretty tough to just like go like, all right, now I'm going to start shorting everything now that the market's down so significantly, now that the seasonality is actually going to be picking up, now that my trend model flipped from -3 to -1. So yeah, it's definitely a slugfest out there, but I think it's important to just maintain composure and take a look at this ARK Innovation ETF. Down 6.65%. So while this seems grueling, right? Oh my gosh, this is horrible. These growth stocks, over here when we have these 3 green candles, a lot of growth stocks bounced a good 30 to 40%. And then slowly but surely, all the strength came out. Now today was like another body blow to all these growth stocks. When you really look at it, we're not really trading much lower than where we've been over the past month or so, really 2 weeks. So we're just kind of like trading in this range. We did make a new closing low, but for the most part, you know, I think this Venom S1 pivot, like for instance, if you wanted to sell these stocks, the time to sell them was probably on the rip into this 20-day simple moving average. It's the time to like offload your growth stocks, like as we're hitting the short downside target from this monthly value area. Probably not. All right, so that is ARK. Let's take a look at our sectors and style factors. And we have gold miners finished down. Solar energy stocks, these were up like 3%. They ended up closing down 1.83%. The energy stocks, which I'm currently short, also finished lower. But look at this, blockchain stocks down 4%. Oh my gosh, KWeb is down another 10. I'm so glad I closed that out. And we have these innovative tech stocks down 5.39%. So this looks like a complete puke to me. So a lot of these growth stocks, like if you're a longer term investor, are these starting to get to more attractive levels? In my opinion, they certainly are. If we get any sort of like shock lower, I'll probably be buying some of the ARK ETF or some of the components of it. But yeah, overall, we don't have any sign yet based on the price action that the bottom is in. So we just have to keep watching and observing. Style factors, let's take a look here. Our high beta style factor was down over 2%. The momentum style factor was down 1.93. So the most risky speculative areas of the market are selling off the hardest. And last but not least, take a look at the seasonality. We're approaching the middle of March. Towards the end of March, that is typically when the seasonality improves. So that's another reason why, like, if you just tap out and you go, I'm done, I'm closing everything out, blah, blah, blah. What happens if like a few days roll by and all of a sudden the market starts ripping to the upside? That's going to be a tough pill to swallow. But as always, it's really just important to manage your risk. I mean, managing your risk means you got to close some things out. Go ahead and do that. And then you can always jump back in. But take a look here. Let's go to our options races, because I actually did not do any trades today. Really, I just sat tight, trying to remain patient. And yeah, there was nothing for me to do today. For that reason, I was trying to step away from the screens as much as possible, because when the market is in a malaise, I try not to just like stare at it all day. Let's take a look. We got our Tesla Flow, SPY, Amazon, Qs. Tesla, of course, in the lead. Let's take a quick look at what we have on our TradeScape. Let me just take this filter off. Here we go. So Tesla, we have a lot of puts going up. Let's see what we got here. SPY, yeah, a lot of puts going up. These are very short dated. March 18th, April 14th, March 11th. See a lot of short dated puts going up. Qs, same thing. So everyone is getting hedged. Everyone is buying put options. Facebook, same deal. So yeah, sentiment bearish. Yes, it is pretty darn bearish. We have Nvidia, more of a mixture rather than anything. With that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. It is Friday. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. And if you're a Pristine Capital member, look in your inbox for our weekend market analysis video and our weekend watch list video.